Thank you so much for joining. It's another episode of New Life. All right, so today we want to discuss a few things. We have a special guest live from Louisiana. We have a brother.
A brother. My brother?
Your brother.
My brother from the same mother.
Can you tell us your name, sir?
Yeah, it's Gregory Janu, but everybody call me Ricky.
Yeah, I definitely would have messed it up because I have always called you Ricky.
Me too.
Okay. So, Ricky, you're the older brother. How much older are you than Eric?
Well, I'm 56.
Okay. So, at this stage, just listen to your baby brother's journey. How did you feel when you first heard, like, in, what was it, 2021 was when everything was revealed. So tell me about, like, that moment that you heard about his diagnosis of cancer.
First, I was like devastated. Then it just clicked in my head and was like, let's go. You can't panic. I don't want to see him panic. So we was in let's go mode after that.
Mm-hmm.
And because I understand that diagnosis when the doctor tell you that when you can't believe it. Well, I learned that I had cancer after my surgery.
Mm-hmm.
They was hush hush.
Mm-hmm.
My girlfriend at the time, she knew, but they didn't tell me until after I had a Whipple surgery.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he judging from like when it first happened, because he had his fight with cancer. Everybody was still reeling from his battle. So for me to find out that it was on me now, I seen how hard and everything that he went through, and it devastated him. It devastated me to see him go through that. You know what I'm saying? So because he was always the more athletic one, the more fluent one, the more flashing. You know what I'm saying? Just moving around and stuff like that. To see him. That was Rick, you know what I'm saying? So that was like Rick, quote unquote Rick. So for them to be like that devastated everybody, me especially. It took a toll because I take my cue from him. I took everything from him, like my style, my dress, everything. I just looked up to him growing up so much, you know what I'm saying? It really like hurt me. And it still to this day kind of like hurt me that, that we got it, but we had it. But you know what I'm saying? God is the greatest, and he still got us kicking around, we still moving around and stuff like that. So,
Amen.
We here.
So, Rick, you mentioned that you had Whipple surgery. Can you tell me about your journey a little bit?
Okay. What happened? All of a sudden, my stomach started hurting me bad, and the only thing I could eat was like big red gum and drink red Gatorade. And then one day I went to the hospital. I went to the bathroom, and like my urine, it was like a cranberry color. Mm-hmm. And that's when I called my younger brother, that's younger than Eric the baby. I called him. I said, Chuck, come bring me to the hospital. So by the time I got there, he was dating. At the time, he was dating my girlfriend's sister. And she called her. And by the time I got to the hospital, she was there. And she was like, "Why are you here? Let me know." I was like, "Cause I didn't want to bother you." So when I got there, they kept giving me to run around. I was going to the hospital on the East-West Connector, and so all of a sudden it was like, "You need to go to Kennestown." So I went over there. And that's when they told me, I was gonna have a Whipple surgery, but they never told me I had cancer, nothing. They just said we was gonna have a Whipple when I went there. So I went home. I was hurting and stuff like that. So it was like, matter of fact, it was the Saints was playing Atlanta, and after the game went off, I was like, I'm ready to go. But when we got there, by the time we got to the hospital, I knew everything was gonna be all right because it started snowing in Georgia. And, they kept me January 1st to January 17th when I had the surgery. They kept me there, and Dr. Schwalf, he was like renowned for Whipple surgeries. So what happened when I had the surgery and stuff like that, I know I had a long battle, and I was gonna give up. So my brother Kevin, he was in a hospital with me. He used to stay focused by coloring. So I'm looking at him, And he telling me, he said, you can't give up. I said, man, and every day they was telling me, you got to get out the bed. I'm like, getting out the bed. He was like, man, come on. So he told me, he said, what you think mama think? And that struck a nerve, like when I heard it, because he used to wake me up every morning at 6 o'clock, talking about, you ready to walk? I said, no, I'm not walking. So that next morning, I woke him up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I was like, you ready? He was like, let's go. And ever since then, it was on and popping. I had to get a transfusion in my hospital room. And like Dr. Schroff also too, like they wanted to go to New Orleans to go to Mardi Gras. He was like, go ahead. So they moved my room all the way to the nursing station. And then he came, then Dr. Schroff came in there, sat in there, prayed with me, watched TV with me. And I was like, yeah, okay. I said, well, I'm going to be all right. Because they took 19 lymph nodes, but I didn't need. He ain't got so much. He got all the cancer. I didn't even need chemo at that time. So that was a blessing right there. And then when I seen eat, and when they say what it was and stuff like that, and then he was telling me about his doctors and stuff like that. So I was telling him about going to Dr. Schroff. But God had another plan. He already had Dr. Schroff on the team.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, he did my port. He did my port. Remember when he did the port team?
Mm-hmm.
And he came in. He came in and he did my port when I found out and stuff like that. And I didn't even know what none of that was. I didn't even know what a port was. I didn't know what any of that stuff was. And so when I went and got inserted, he was the one who did it. And he kept looking at me, and Tyra was like, you know, he kept looking at you. The man kept looking at you, like, you know, kept looking at you. I guess he seen the last name.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of like, you know, he kept looking at the last name, kept looking at me, and he didn't say too much to me. He just put the port in and told me how to take care of it and address it, and, you know, dress it up and stuff like that. And port, I mean my cancer port, my chemo port, where they administer IVs and take blood and administer the chemotherapy medicine. It's a little magnetic thing in your chest. It's like a catheter, and put it in your neck, and you administer the meds through there. So he did that, and then we was talking. Rick didn't even know that he did it, and we was talking about second opinions. And he was like, when we told him what the diagnosis was, remember I told him what the diagnosis was. And he told me, he said, well, welcome to your new life. And I'm like, new life? I said, what do you mean? He said, everything that you know, it ain't going to be the same. He said, it's going to be totally different. He said, so just, well, you know, you got to embrace it. He said, you'll see what I'm talking about when you get there. I said, okay, bet. So needless to say, we went, he said, well, you need to go get a second opinion. I was about to come to Houston. I was about to go to Houston and get one at, what is it, MD Anderson? MD Anderson Medical Center.
Right.
And he's like, nah. He's like, well, you can do that. Or he said, go check out my doctor, the guy who did my surgery, Dr. Sharaf, or whatever. And I said, Dr. Sharaf? He said, yeah. I said, well, they had a Dr. Sharaf that did my port. And he was like, what? I was like, yeah. He said, that's him. I said, well, okay. He said, ain't got too many of them. He said, so go see him. So I made the appointment. And I went seeing Dr. Sharaf, and when I went in there, he told me, he was like, he looked at me, he said, he looked at my results and stuff. He said, you're cancer. He said, listen, he pointed out to me, he said, not only do you have he said, your cancer is such a big cancer, because it was like 10 millimeters on. He said, if I touch you right now, you'll die. He said, the best route for you to go, he said, it's such a big cancer. He said, you have 3 other tumors that spread and metastasize. And what metastasize means is the cancer spread throughout your body. You know what I'm saying? He said, it metastasized. He said, your best route to do is to stay on the route that you already have, that your doctor put you on. And I'm already on her team. We're already on the team. So, you know, I'm very familiar with your case now. So he said, that'll be the best route for you to go. And he said, if the tumor, he said, we're going to do the chemo. He said, we're going to push the chemo. And if it shrinks, he said, we're going to hit it with everything with the kitchen sink. And I said, okay, let's go. I said, let's do it. He said, it's going to be tough. He said, it's going to be something that you never experienced. It's going to be the roughest thing you ever went through. He said, but just go ahead and go through that. You get through it. He said, we'll see you on the other side. I said, bet, I'll see you on the other side, you know. So, and that's what happened. And we went through it.
Let's go back. Ricky mentioned welcome to your new life. What did you mean at that point?
I mean, everything. You know, his life ain't gonna be the same no more. You know, now you have a whole new life. You have a whole new outlook. You know, you have to do stuff that you never did before and stuff like that. And then it's a fight every day because it's just not just because it's not physical. It's mental. Because you know you thinking about all the stuff you went through, and you can see it in your sleep. You're playing back over and over and over again.
Yeah, like
it never leaves you.
yeah, like it's every day. Like you could just rewind your whole day. You can rewind it, and basically it's the same thing. It's like just turn the page to a different day that you go do something. But either you gotta go to treatment or you gotta come home and still isolated away from everybody and just get still.
Right,
You know?
right. Because I mean, matter of fact, January 17th, maybe 11 years. You know, it make 11 years since I had my surgery, and then like I still go through stuff because they had to cut some of the nerves that I needed. That gave me gastroparesis, it gave me chronic pancreatitis, and like diabetes and stuff like that. I never had any of that before my Whipple surgery, because the Whipple surgery is like the equivalent of having like 5 heart surgeries in one time. And then my surgery was like 22 hours long. They had to do it in increments.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, it was tough. Yeah, it was tough, and you still suffering, man. Like I'm blessed to whereas I just got the okay that there's no evidence of disease in me, and I think I came and made a good recovery. I'm like, well, shoot, man. I'm like, well, Rick Rick got to come on with it, but he kept me fighting. He was the one that kept me going through it. He was like, I was in the valley after chemo and stuff like that. And in the valley, that means when you go all the way down in the low place, and that you can't do nothing, you can't eat, you have neuropathy, you can't walk, you can't feel like needles are sticking in your feet. You can't hold nothing down. Everything don't taste like nothing. You know what I'm saying? He was just telling me what to do every step of the way. I Tyra call and call him, and he'd be like, listen, tell him do this, tell him do that, get the big red gum to settle his stomach, get some gumbo, that only thing. He said, just eat the broth with the gumbo. He said, just, you gotta need something that'll settle your stomach. Go get your smoothie, get a watermelon smoothie, try the Hulk smoothie, stuff like that. Different little things. You take some vapor rub, put it at the bottom of your feet, all kind of stuff. But it worked. So everything he told me, put it up under your nose, put it on your chest, all that stuff. So all that stuff worked, man. So I mean, good looking out. Good looking out.
I just told him, I see this what I did, and then you just add what you need to add on. You just add on what you need, how you want it, and that's what he did, and he was rolling with it. Cause I know our faith, we just stand on it, and we already knew God was with us. So,
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that, though. You mentioned like your brother Kevin saying when he mentioned your mother, the next day you gained strength, and today you said that you knew that you had to stand on faith. Give me a little bit about that background as far as where did the two of you get that type of strength to just persevere?
I mean, we have strong women in our family. We have aunties and sisters and my grandmother and my grandfather.
And our dad, man.
We've done church since we was like little bitty kids.
Yeah.
Get in the van, going to church. All of us in a row.
Yeah.
There are so many of them behind me and so many in front of me. There's 13 of us. And you have to stand and you have to be faithful. You have to be faithful with God. When you're on a journey, because some people don't have faith. And end up bad.
Right, that was our foundation. Faith was our foundation. If we didn't have that, we didn't have nothing, man. I mean, our parents, they raised us, man, due diligence. Every New Year's Eve, after when the clock strikes 12, we on our knees praying, for the New Year and stuff like that. We had parents that were, especially in the environment we came up in, you know what I mean? So we came up in the inner city, so it wasn't like, we had to really, we needed faith a lot of times to get you through stuff. So, but my mom was heavy on the faith. My dad was heavy on discipline. So, Yeah, it's a structure. We had structure. So if anything, we had our mindsets built since adolescent. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
How did that work for you guys? Like you mentioned just going through this process and having family sitting right there next to you. How important is family? You say you leaned on your brother a lot through this process. How important is that? Like, is there everything? Did you ever tell him how you feel?
It's for me or for Rick?
Both.
You go first, Rick.
No, it's extremely important. I mean, I have friends, and that got diagnosed, and I told them, I said, you got to have your family around you and stuff like that. But, unfortunately, he passed away. And because I told him, I said, well, go to my doctor, because I seen him in the hospital, and he said when I got out the elevator, he said that he knew that was me by my walk. And like I hugged him out and everything, and I was like, man, he had gastroparesis and everything too. And I was like, man, and he was suffering. I'm talking about he was suffering. I already know that stage that he was in because I had it. Like, you vomiting all day and you haven't eaten. It's just the lining of your stomach. It's just bile. You just drawing up bile all day. And then you losing weight because gastroparesis make you malnutrition. That's part of one of the symptoms. And I mean, and that's a hard thing to do. Like, I'm past, like they was talking about putting a gastric pacemaker in my stomach, and I'm bypassed that. I can't even use that. The only thing that worked for me is like pain block surgery, acidic plexus blocks. I have that like every 3 months and stuff like that. Yeah. And I had to come to New Orleans to do that, cause like in Georgia, they wasn't doing it, but they do it on special occasions, but not, every couple of months.
Okay. And Eric?
Family?
Mm-hmm.
Family is important. Family is essential. Family is essential, but even though like my situation, we have a big family, and it was people other than family that showed up as well and helped mainly too. So I mean, family is good. Family, you need that support. You know what I mean? It helps. You know what I mean? But it's other avenues, to alternative to family too. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes family don't show up for you like they should sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But the ones that that the ones that, and then it's too. This God put in your life who you need at that time, and it don't have to necessarily be family. That's what I'm trying to say. So
just a great support system.
Yeah, just to get you a solid team. It'll be family, it'll be friends, it'll be a lot of people. Like my family, like I already know who gonna be there, and I already knew who was gonna be there. You know what I mean? So I mean, I call them the usual suspects, but they know who they are. So it's not like what I mean, who I expect. So the ones I expected, they were there. You know what I mean? The ones who I needed, they were there. So as well as. Yeah.
Right, because it's not just coming one day and leaving or whatever. Right. You need 24 hours a day and stuff like that. That's why I told you, it didn't matter what time of day it was to call me.
That's
I didn't
right.
care when you called me.
That's right. It'd be times where I couldn't sleep or I couldn't eat or I couldn't sit down or I couldn't just do nothing. I just I was get frustrated. I'm like, what the wanted to curse everybody and stuff like that. And I called him at 2:00 in the morning, man, and you know what I'm saying? Like before every chemo treatment, he'll call me, he'll text me like, Janu strong, you know what I'm saying? So I text him back, that's right. Let's get it, let's knock it out, you know what I mean? And my boy Rock, come sit in there with me.
And Rock is another brother?
Rocky, yeah, that's my older brother, Rocky, that's the one over us. He would, and even my brother Champ, he would call me at the strangest hours in the morning, like 3 in the morning. So I know he was up. But yeah, that meant a lot to me too. So that was a lot that kept me pushing too. So to see that my older brothers, you know what I'm saying, really cared about me in that sense. And even Kev came and sat with me a little bit, you know what I'm saying, and moved around and stuff like that. He came and cheered me up, watched the fights with me and stuff like that. So I had a lot of support. I can't lie. I had a lot of support. So yeah, I did.
Now, Rick, you mentioned that even after the surgery, you're still going through like some different bouts of pain. How do you deal with that? Like, explain that to me. Explain that a little bit more if you can.
I mean, because like even the doctors be wondering how could I take all this pain and stuff like that, and I was like, because it's in me. It's in me not to give up.
That's right. Resilience is not on us. And we ain't got no choice. We're not gonna let each other give up. We know it's not, that's not acceptable. You know what I'm saying? It wouldn't have been acceptable to our parents. It wouldn't have been acceptable to each other. We just hold each other accountable. We not on that. You know what I'm saying? We different. So it's different with us. Like people like, we talk to people all the time and they be like, oh, she just gave up, or she just did this, or she just did. I can't see that. My mindset is different. That's the message I want to spread to people. Like, it's not there's an out stage 4 in the door. You know what I'm saying? It's not me, it's God. It was God grace, but he put something inside of me to where that I knew that I wasn't going, this wasn't it. And if it was gonna be it, we was gonna dance. So we was gonna dance a little bit, and that's all I did, dance. So and that was it. So we ain't there's no,
you bob and you weave.
You bob and you weave, you stay in the ring, like Rock said. You stay in the ring, you stay in the ring. So as long as you're in the ring, you got a chance of winning.
Right.
Yeah.
You get knocked down, you get back up.
That's it. That's it. That's it.
The two he make it seem, and I know it was way more difficult than what it sounds at this stage of your old journey. Like,
yeah.
You make it seem you handle things with grace. So help me understand, like if someone is listening right now that's facing this challenge, like, because I know the two of you probably did a lot of reading when you received your diagnosis, and when you read things like that, they seem extremely negative. So how do you how do you maintain?
I mean, my cousin, she had cancer and stuff like that. I went to see her and stuff like that, and she was like, she's like, I'm tired. I just can't do it. I can't do it. But she couldn't take chemo. She couldn't take it because we was like tearing her body up and stuff like that. And I understood it. When I seen her and stuff like that, but when I seen her face and stuff like that, it was like, she had made a peace with God, and I respected that.
For me, I read the first paragraph in Google about my disease, and it scared the whole hell out of me. And my doctor, remember, she told me to stay off Google. And I hadn't read nothing else since then, so I didn't read anything. So I was kind of like, I walked in the blind. I walked on faith, and I walked in the blind. You know what I mean? So what was going to happen was going to happen. What was going to be was going to be. Remember, I didn't even know what stage 4 was. I didn't know what cancer. I didn't know anything about it. You know what I'm saying? I was totally illiterate towards the whole cancer process or whatever, and I gained so much respect, and we found respect for it now and the things that you had to go through. But I think that's what part of that is what helped me get through it, because I didn't know. I just treated it like a game, so to speak. Like, I prepared for it. I prepared for war. When you're dealing with stuff like that, you got to go to war. So that's how I prepared myself to get through it. So.
And to define game, when you're saying you treated it like a game, what do you mean by that?
Like a football game. Like, you train your body in a certain way. You train your mind in a certain way. It's more mental than physical, because your physical is going to take care of itself. But mentally, it was a task to do that. It was excruciating. It was painful. But if you're able to put your mind somewhere, you put your mind on pleasant things, and you put your mind on God, and you focus on God, and I got locked in. And once I locked in with that, it was the battle. I told him the battle is yours, not mine. And once I did that, and I just kept going. He was like, I said, as long as you wake me up and lift me up every day to go do what I need to do, I'm going to do it. So I don't care how I feel. I don't care how bad I feel. I never missed a doctor's appointment. I never missed a hydration session. I never missed the infusion session. I never missed a checkup. I never missed nothing. You know what I'm saying? So I never, and I was blessed in that sense, because people don't have it like I did. And I thank God that I didn't have it like that. You know what I mean? I had it like that, but I didn't let it have me like that, in other words. So, like, I had cancer. Cancer didn't have me. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I looked at it, and that's how I approached it, and that's how I dealt with it.
And both of us had rare forms of cancer also, too.
Yeah, super rare forms of cancer.
Right. And that was the crazy part right there. And then when I heard when he had stage 4 and stuff like that, it was like, you know, it shook me. It shook me, and I was like, no, I can't see him. You know, I can't see, you know. So I was like, come on, let's go. You got work to do. This is it. You gonna get it.
Yeah, I remember I didn't even know what the stages were. I didn't even know what that was. And I asked him, what's after stage 4? Remember, Rick?
Right.
Remember time I asked the lady, I said, what's after stage 4? And she looked up at the sky. I said, at least she didn't look down. When she looked up, so I didn't even know. I had no clue, bro. I didn't know what was going on, bro. I was like, when they told me, I was like, you know, I'm thinking.
It's rare to come back from stage 4.
Yeah, man.
Because even like the nurse that was telling you, like, you know, she telling you about hospitals and stuff like that, and I'm like, let's go.
Yeah, she told me if I was 60 years old, I would be in hospice right now.
Right.
And I'm like, hospice? I'm like, my mom was in hospital. I'm like, that's the end of life care. What the hell are you talking about? I looked at Tara. I'm like, what Tara? What's she talking about? Like, you know, she said, yeah, because you're stage 4 and all. And I say stage 4. And remember I asked her, I said, well, what's after stage 4? And that's when she looked up in the sky. So, and I told her, I said, listen, lady, I said, listen, with all due respect, I said, I'm an anomaly. I said, you ain't never seen nothing like me. I said, I don't care if it was stage 8. I said, I know a lot of people say, no disrespect. I said, I know a lot of people say they're going to beat it and they're going to build with it. I said, but I'll be here till the end. I said, listen, I said, I walked in here and I'm going to walk out of here. And that's what happened. I walked in by the grace of God and I walked out by the mercy of God. And that's what happened. And I'm here to tell it. So.
Right, and that testimony is testimony.
Yes, sir. And we're here to share the story with people, man. Let them know, man. There's help. It's hope. You know, don't give up. Don't give up, man. It's a mindset.
Because sometimes you be right on the edge of a breakthrough, and you about to give up. Don't ever give up.
Don't ever do that. And I've seen that, like we was talking about in the last podcast. I've seen going in infusion. You know, so many people giving up, and I used to come on and I tell Tara, I say, Tara, remember the lady with this hair and that hair? And she's like, yeah, I remember. I said, she didn't make it. You know, they didn't make it. This person didn't make it. They gave up. You know what I'm saying? She was happy last week, and this week she just gave up. She just deteriorated in a week's time. It was crazy, man. It was something I never witnessed before, but it's something I never forget.
You know, and then sometimes, you know, it was just their time. You know, and that's what it was. That's what I say. You know, I wouldn't say they gave up. I would just say it was their time. Yeah. You don't know what you're gonna die from. You don't know what horrors, what afflictions, whatever you're gonna have, and stuff like that. The first thing is just stay grounded. You know, stay put. You know, and stand on it. Stand on it. Stand on God's word.
That's right. Be humble. Stay humble. One thing I got out of this whole thing, man, to be honest with you, big bro, is I'm appreciative, bro. I'm appreciative for everything, bro. Like it made my outlook, it changed my whole outlook on life. You know what I'm saying? Period. Like everything I used to get so upset about it. It's crazy because people like, man, nothing don't even matter to you no more. I say, why should it? You know what I mean? Shucks. Why? You know what I've been through? I was like, shoot, man, it's not even important. Life is important. Every day is important. Just living is important. You know what I'm saying? Just looking at the birds and the trees and the flowers and stuff like that, man. That's important, man. We get so caught up in the hustle and bustle and the rigmarole, as Dad used to say, everyday life. You know what I'm saying? And just we get too caught up, man. If we just stop and slow down and look at everything, even like photosynthesis and you know, just, you know, do's and hues and stuff like that, and you look at stuff and everything that just is around us, man, that's just steady breathing life around us, and that we have no clue about, and we don't see it, man. Like, I'm telling you, man, it made me look at animals different. It made me look at everything different, how trees grow, how the seasons change, and stuff like that.
Right,
you know, it's something bigger than you.
It brings you close to the earth. It brings you like you know, like you closer to God.
Period.
You know,
Period,
like,
as they say.
like you're almost on a spiritual plane, almost.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's what it is, man. You walk into spirituality, you don't let nothing get to you, you don't let nothing, shake you. And if it's negative, like you used to tell me all the time, like, E man, let me tell you something. He's like, I don't care what it is, bro. He said, if it upsets you, if it gets, I don't care who it is or what it is, get it from around you. Don't let it in your space. Don't let it come around you. And that's family, friends, people, associates, anything, children, whatever it is. If it's not conducive to you getting better or growing you, if it's gonna upset you, just let it go. You know what I mean? And that's what I do, man. I don't think I've been upset in so long, man. It's just happened. Like if I am upset, I'm not upset for long. I'm like, I catch myself and I'm like, man, what the heck? Man, whatever. You can have that. Go ahead. So that's where I'm at with it.
Right. You concerned with everyday living, huh?
That's it. And if people are right, that's it. That's all I care about. If whoever living, if people are right, that's it.
So Rick, tell me, like, considering that Eric viewed you to be, in other words, like his mentor, his teacher, his confidant, like what could you tell individuals who are listening? Like what closing remarks could you give them in order to just keep them in a good space?
To keep them in the space, I get closer to God. Get closer to God. Get closer to your family. You know what it is too, and and you gotta let that negative energy go. Even if you got a beef with somebody, let it go. If forgiveness is not for them; it's for you.
That's right.
You can't keep that in your heart, and you're trying to fight this battle.
That's right.
Everything. You gotta give all that up. You gotta give it all up, and you gotta give it to God.
Okay.
That's right. It's 100 right there. Well said, big bro.
All right.
Well said.
Right.
Well, Rick, I thank you, and I can't tell you, we might have to call on you again for another episode because I'm sure people are going to be tuned in and have a lot of different questions. So get ready for that.
Yeah, ask Rick. We're gonna have a segment called Ask Rick.
Okay. So I just want to.
I'm with it. I'm with it. If you can have one person, I'm with it.
Absolutely, and
That's
we appreciate you today. And this concludes our episode of New Life. Thank you so much for joining.
Love you, man.
Love you too, man.
All right.